The Green Book. The man at the taxi rank. The rain fell softly over Johannesburg as Cabello stood near the taxi rank, watching commuters rush through puddles with green ID books tucked into plastic sleeves. A young man approached him quietly. "You need a new identity?" he whispered. Cabello frowned. "What?" The stranger smiled. "Not fake. Better than fake. Smart fake." He held up a green ID book, so convincing it looked fresh from Home Affairs. "These old books are easy," the man said. "No biometrics. No fingerprints. Just paper." Cabello walked away, but the words stayed with him. Across South Africa, impersonation fraud using green ID books had risen by 400% in a single year. Most people had no idea. Ghost identities. At Verify Now headquarters in Cape Town, cybersecurity analyst Amina Daniels stared at a wall of flashing alerts. Each red notification represented another stolen identity, another fake bank account, another victim. The attacks were becoming smarter. AI-generated faces, deep fake videos, synthetic voices that sounded exactly like real people. Fraud has changed, her CEO Rue Foster told the team. Criminals are no longer breaking into systems. They are becoming people. Amina opened another case file. A pensioner from Limpopo had lost her savings after fraudsters cloned her identity using an old green ID book. No fingerprints. No biometric match. Only paper. 16 million. At the Department of Home Affairs, Minister Leon Schreiber stood before reporters. "We are expanding smart ID access nationwide," he announced. The government planned to issue 2.2 million smart ID cards during the 2026-2027 financial year. Banks were partnering with Home Affairs. 200 bank branches would soon offer smart ID services. But the problem remained enormous. Nearly 16 million South Africans still carried the old green barcoded ID books. Many lived in rural towns where smart ID services remained difficult to access. And criminals knew it. The perfect storm. Late one night, Amina reviewed the newest fraud report. The numbers felt unreal. Financial losses linked to identity fraud in South Africa had reached 1.88 billion rands. Globally, e-commerce fraud losses were projected at $48 billion. Healthcare fraud losses per incident had become the highest in 13 consecutive years. But one sentence disturbed her most: the convergence of generative AI record data breaches and expanding digital services has created a perfect storm for identity fraud. The storm had already arrived. Fraudsters could now generate convincing fake documents within minutes, clone voices, forge faces, create entire synthetic identities from stolen data. The barrier to entry had collapsed. What once required expert criminals now required only a laptop and an internet connection. A woman with two faces. One afternoon, police arrested a woman attempting to withdraw money from a bank account that did not belong to her. She carried a green ID book with another woman's name. The photo looked real. Too real. At first glance, nobody noticed the face had been altered using AI. Even the bank teller nearly approved the transaction. Only a biometric face scan exposed the fraud. When investigators searched her phone, they found hundreds of fake IDs ready for sale. Some belonged to dead people. Others belonged to living South Africans who had no idea their identities had been stolen. The smart card. Months later, Cabello finally visited a bank branch offering smart ID services. The line was long, but different. Cameras scanned faces. Fingerprint readers glowed green. Every identity linked directly to biometric records. An elderly woman beside him held her green ID book tightly. "I've had this since 1987, she whispered. Cabello nodded. The green book had survived apartheid, democracy, elections, and generations of families. But now it had become dangerous. Not because of what it represented, but because criminals had learned how to copy it. The new face of fraud. Amina stood by her apartment window, overlooking Cape Town skyline. Her computer screen reflected endless fraud reports behind her. The war was changing. Biometric verification, passive liveness detection, real-time identity checks. These systems were no longer optional. They had become shields. Still, she knew technology alone would never end the problem. As long as millions remained trapped between old systems and new systems, criminals would continue hunting in the gap. Her phone buzzed. Another fraud alert. Another stolen identity. Another green book. Amina closed her eyes briefly before answering the call. Outside, the city lights flickered like thousands of digital fingerprints glowing in the dark.